Welcome to Old Man Sports Talk. I'm your host, Old Man Nate, and today we're going to reveal my college football top 25 for week 2. So, I hope you guys got enough college football for this weekend as it went 5 days from Thursday all the way till last night, Monday. It capped off with a banger last night. It uh it was quite a performance. I'm telling you, if you guys haven't been watching my shows, you're missing out. I had a lot of predictions go right, and the season's still young, so we'll wait to see if my final predictions are true or not. But I did have Utah picked to beat Florida, and they weren't even on the same playing field. And then I also had to cap it off. And you can go back and watch my videos. I had Duke beating Clemson. I picked that. What was it, about a month ago when I revealed my ACC college football predictions for the ACC conference? I revealed right then that Duke would beat Clemson, and I've got Duke finished third in the ACC and Clemson fourth. So you can go back and look. If you're on TikTok watching me, you can go to my YouTube page and check out all of my predictions for this upcoming season. And last week we revealed our top 25s, our first week with the top 25, and now we're going into week 2. There is definitely some shakeup. I mean, we just revealed that Clemson got beat. They weren't my top 10. They were not in my top 10, but they were in the nation's top 10. Matter of fact, so I had Clemson ranked 17th last week. Okay. Um, Also, a big game last Sunday night. Great game Sunday night. Florida State and LSU, and I got that one right too. I picked Florida State in that one. I did have them, 2 and 3 heading into last week, and it's going to be, polls are going to shake up. We had a loser, right? And it wasn't like it was a really close game, so there's definitely going to be some shake up there. So before we get started, um, if you haven't already, please take the time to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That way you get notified every time Old Man Nate drops a video or goes live. You can also go to oldmancoffee.shop and you can get yourself some coffee. And we have 47 different flavors. You can go to oldmancoffee.shop, get you some coffee. You can get you some t-shirts, and you can get you some tumblers to drink your coffee out of. All right. So take the time to go over to oldmancoffee.shop and help support Old Man Nate. So, great game. Hey, I just got to say this, man. I'm a Sooner fan. You see the memorabilia back there in the back, but us Sooner fans, we do not really like them Texas Longhorns. Okay. And by the way, if you're watching live, you can leave a comment at any time. I got you on TikTok for the first time, so um, if if you're on TikTok, I'll try to get to you. Can't promise you on that. I'm mostly broadcasting this from my YouTube, but I will try to sneak in over there and see if I can answer some of your questions as well. So I just gotta say, back to what I was saying though. Us student fan, we can't stand Texas, right? But week 1, I thought I'd throw in a little parlay and 18 parlay, and I only put $10 on it. No big deal. Now, granted, if you know anything about parlays, all of them got to hit, or you know you lose, right? So, yeah, I went out and I started with picked Utah. I picked um, who else I have? Washington to cover. All these teams to cover. Utah, Washington. I had Florida State. I had Duke covering the 13. Of course, they won outright by 21. But you know, there was 8 teams I had. I had Oklahoma to cover the 35. And it come, but there was one team that I had that blew it all. I got 7 out of 8 right. And that one team, guess who it was? The damn Texas Longhorns. Couldn't even cover 35 points on the Rice Owls. They won, but they only won by 27. So I just want to say I'm a little upset. I hate Texas Longhorns even more now because if they would have won, that $10 would have won me $1,400. So a little upset on that one. But you live and you learn, and guess what? I ain't picking Texas this weekend, that's for sure, against Alabama. So yeah. Let's go with the top 25 now. So really impressive game this weekend. Now I'm going to say this. On Thursday we're going to be live too at 26 Lounge here in Oklahoma City. So if you're watching in Oklahoma City, take the time, stop by. We'll be live again. And on Thursday nights, we're going to have a segment called "They Are Who I Thought They Were or Not." Okay, that's going to be our segment. It's going to be they are who I thought they were or not. Right, and we're going to talk about what that means is I got it right. Basically, I got the predictions right on them, or I was way off. Right, and there's still a lot of questions to be answered on a lot of teams. Right, but it's to me everybody jumping on the Colorado bandwagon right now, saying they look like one of the best teams in the country, and Pac-12 better be on watch and all that. And Deion's got this thing going, and Deion is doing a great thing. I'm not talking about Deion. He's doing a great thing over there. And I will say they do look like they are a better team than I thought they were. But pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Because if you go look at my videos, number one, they beat a team. Yeah, TCU played for the national championship last year. Beat Michigan in the college football playoff. But if you watch my videos, they got lucky to beat Michigan. They had some kind of like Duke last night. They had I'm not saying Duke didn't deserve the win. Duke did what they had to do to win, just like TCU did what they had to do to beat Michigan. However, like Dabo Swinney said after the game last night, first time he'd ever threw for 200 yards and ran for 200 yards and lost the game in Clemson history. And that's because they had 2 turnovers inside the 5-yard line, and then they missed 2 field goals. So that makes a big difference. That could be 14, 20 points right there. Take that points, now it's 28-27, and actually one of those touchdowns Duke may not have got because on that fumble recovery they ran all the way back to the 30-yard line. So one of those fumbles inside the 5-yard line. So it makes a big difference. But as far as what TCU did, they had 2 interceptions ran back for touchdown. They had they caused a fumble after a touchdown was called back. After a Michigan touchdown was called back. So again, they did what they had to do to win, but they had a lot of lucky breaks to even make it out of the semifinals into the championship. And they lost a lot of people. They lost a lot of people, including their starting quarterback and their starting running back. So a lot of their linemen left. I think last year they had like 20 fifth or sixth year seniors on their team last year. They don't have that much this year. So you're not playing the same team. And that's what I don't understand when people, and it's everybody. It's not just fans like me and you. It's people all over the news networks, ESPN and Fox, saying, "Oh, Deion just beat the national runner-up." No, he didn't. He beat a team that played for it, but it's not the same team he played. They played national championship. If you go look at my predictions, I had TCU finishing 8th in the Big 12. That's right, 8th. So it's not like he beat a team that is going to compete for the Big 12 championship this year. They're just not. Now, like I said, Dion in Colorado is already looking better than I thought they were. I had them losing TCU. I did have that. I did have them also losing Nebraska this year or this week. I don't know, especially after watching Nebraska play. Now, Nebraska is actually really good on defense and has talent on offense, except for one position, the most important position on their team, and that's their quarterback. That dude can't throw a pass. I'll tell you right now, Nebraska needs to go back to the wishbone days or the power eye days as Nebraska used to run it, and that's what they need to do because he can run. He's a very good threat. He's Eric Crouch days. Let's put it that way. Although Eric Crouch throws the ball better than him. So the only way they're going to beat Colorado is if they just run the ball and don't throw it because he's going to throw you 3 interceptions a game. So, and Colorado's defense ain't very good either. Matter of fact, I'm looking forward to that USC Colorado game because that's going to be a shootout. It Whatever the point spread is, take the over. Take it over. I don't even know what it is right now, but take the over in the USC Colorado game because it's going to be over 100 combined points scored in that game because neither one of them teams can play defense, not a one. So, anyways, back to the top 25. Running in at 25. I got Colorado. All right, they're jumping in the top 25 this week. Last week's top 25 was Army. Army, big disappointment. Lost to Louisiana Monroe. Yep, my dang Army team. They just disappointed me. So you fell out, Army. Number 24 dropped after their loss last night from 17 to 24, the Clemson Tigers. Now, the only reason they're still ranked in my top 25 is because I do think they could be one of the top 25 teams in the country, even with that loss last night. But they got to come up with better offense. They got Shipley at running back, and their quarterback now Duke is really good on defense. Okay, Clemson should look really good this week. I forget who they're playing. They're playing a nobody. They're getting their chance against a nobody this week. But so they should look good. But that rest of the ACC, they're going to have trouble beating Florida State. I got to really look at their schedule, but if they got to play Miami, North Carolina, or I know they play Florida State, they're going to have trouble in those games because their offense is not good enough to score points on them. And Duke's offense looked pretty freaking good. So I mean, they didn't look like outstanding like some other teams, but they they can do enough to beat some teams in the ACC. I hope Clemson don't have to play Notre Dame because if they do, they're gonna yeah that's 4 or 5 losses right there I just named. So there are potential losses. We'll put it that way. 23. This team dropped one even though they won. Um, I didn't get a chance to watch them, so I'm not sold on them yet. But it's the Tulane Green Wave. 22, jumping in the top 25. Again, after that impressive win last night, you got to have them in your top 25. The Duke Blue Devils. 21. Now, they had an impressive win. This team had an impressive win, but I didn't get a chance to watch them. So we're just going to, they did move up one on me, but, or no, it moved up two spots, and it's Texas A&M Aggies. Oregon State, I got to watch some of them play. They played Sunday afternoon. I got to watch some of it, not all of it. I got to watch some of it, and they moved up 2 spots. That's the Oregon State Beavers. I tell you what, they did look a lot better offensively. What's called him? DJU. I can't say his name. DJU transferred from Clemson over to Oregon State. He looked a lot better than he did. He looked a lot better Sunday than he did at Clemson the last year and a half. So I don't know if the system just fits him better or if he's just finally learning how to be a quarterback. But he looked a lot better. Made some nice touch passes too. So, yeah, Oregon State is going to be a threat. I was really kind of down on him going into the season. I thought he's probably the best quarterback at Oregon State, but I didn't think he was going to be good enough to compete for the Pac-12 championship. I might be wrong on that. I said it was a four team race. It might be five now. And nope, not Colorado. Nope. And then Colorado gonna score points on somebody, but they can't if they ain't got no defense. It don't matter. It don't matter. They're gonna lose two games for sure, and in the conference play, and two losses in Pac-12 is gonna keep you out of that Pac-12 championship. So, um, yeah, I got to see who Oregon State plays too. The one thing I did say in the other four I'm talking about are Washington, Oregon, Utah, and USC. All four of those teams play each other. So, yeah, if Oregon State's got to play some of those, and then some of those got to play Oregon State, then that definitely makes a difference. I know USC got to play Colorado. Um, I think Colorado and Utah plays. I think Colorado plays Utah also. I don't think they play. I don't think they play Washington. They may still play Oregon. Um, yeah. Anyway, hey, one thing. Go back and watch my videos. I said it. I said it that this was going to be the most exciting college football season in a long time because from the north to the south and the east to the west, there's a lot of equal teams. All right, there's not going to be a one team that's dominant over everybody else. And if you looked at this weekend, you were like, "Dang, maybe old man Nate know what he's talking about." Because Georgia, Georgia struggled against who was it they played this weekend? I don't remember off the top of my head who they played, but it was 7-0 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Now they finally got it rolling and won like 35 or 38 or something. But yeah, Ohio State, their quarterback doesn't look like what they've had in recent years, and they struggled. They won, but they struggled against Indiana. Now Indiana has some good defenses. Like they had pretty decent defense last year, but they lost a lot of those key players. They either transferred to other schools or just graduated. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Looking forward to it. Week 2, can't wait. Number 19. This team, I watched them on Friday night. I believe it was Friday night they played. And now I turned the game on late, right? And I still haven't got an answer why. But their starting quarterback didn't play at all. And at first it kind of showed because they was only up like 14-3 or something like that, or 14-6. And then they kicked it in gear, and still their starting quarterback did not play one snap in the game. I don't know why. And I'm talking about the Kansas Jayhawks and Jalen Daniels. So yeah, I don't know if it was disciplinary. I don't know. I mean, it can't be. Well, you just want to save him because he had so many injuries. Because guess what? It's the first game. You got to play your best players the first game because they haven't played in a few months, 7 months, 6 months, whatever. Got to get them back out there. I'm not saying you had to play him the whole game. Like I know OU's quarterback. He he only played the first half, right? Then they played three other quarterbacks in the second half. So um, definitely give them an opportunity other people to play when you're up big. But they, like I said, when I turned on in the second quarter, they weren't up big, and and again their backup didn't play. Got backup played the whole game. So Kansas though did move up. They did win impressively, pulled it out, and again without their starting quarterback, who is probably the best quarterback in the Big 12. Why? I mean, you win dominant without him. You're going to move up. Now again, they didn't play a nobody, but hell, 2 years ago Kansas was a nobody, right? So 18, moving up one spot, number 18 is the Ole Miss Rebels. They put a stomping on somebody, 73-7. Again, they played a nobody. They got this week they're going to be challenged. Yeah, I forget exactly who they're playing, but they are definitely going to be challenged this week. We'll talk more about it on Thursday. Today we're really releasing our top 25. On Thursday, we're going to talk more about in depth of who the matchups are and my predictions and that sort of thing. Okay. At 17 is the Wisconsin Badgers. They moved it one spot, 1-0. They've got a decent game this weekend, decent matchup. They're playing Washington State. I know that. Not Trey McGuire, Mordecai is their quarterback. He got off to a slow start, but ended up pulling it out and they win them pretty easily. Also, number 16. Now this team, maybe it's because I'm a little upset about them not covering on my parlay where I would have costing me $1,400 this week. But I did watch the game. When I was seeing that they weren't covering, I had to flip over there and see what was going on. And offensively, I'm not impressed with them. They got the athletes, but Ewers may not be their quarterback. All right, even with my their backup came in. Manning didn't even get a chance to play. I thought they'd throw him in there for a little bit, and they didn't. When their backup came in, that dude's a monster, but he didn't look all that impressive either. So they're just not hitting on cylinders yet, which really is concerning because you got Alabama this week. You need to be hitting on all cylinders, and you're not. So I dropped them. I dropped them 7 spots. So to number 16, I'm talking about the Texas Longhorns. Right now, they look like the same old Texas team that's been them for the last 14 years, since 2009. And actually, since 2010. From 2010 to now, so 13 years, they look like the same old Texas Longhorns. They look like they're going to win no more than 8 games. And that's sad. That's embarrassing. So, thanks, Roger. So, I dropped them down to 16. Number 15 is another team that did not look good this week. And I dropped them 8 spots. So they were in my top 10, but they weren't as high as everybody else. And I'm talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes. They had their quarterback is a new quarterback. He didn't look very good either. And they play in a tough division in the Big Ten. So okay, we are not talking about last year. Do not come in any comments about last year because guess what? Last year means nothing. It gets you nothing. Nothing at all. It don't get you a trophy. It don't get you to a certain game. It don't. So last year means nothing at all. Now, Ohio State, again, don't have the quarterback that they had last year. So they look like garbage. They did. They look like they may be the fifth best team in the Big Ten. So, I dropped them down to number 15. At number 14, we all seen them get their butts handed to them by an ACC team. By the way, I'm going to say something real quick. Just stay, hey, your boy steady. Just stay on line. We're going in reverse order from 25 all the way up to number 1. And right now we're at number 14. Okay. All right. But I'm going to say this. The SEC may not be near as good as everybody's saying. Think about something real quick. They had 3 teams play against a decent team this weekend and got their butts whooped. All 3 SEC teams got their butts whooped. All right. Florida played a Utah and lost. Not wasn't even close. LSU played Florida State and lost. It was close in the first half. Like LSU was up by a field goal at halftime, and they lost. They got shut out in the second half and got their butts handed to them in the second half. And South Carolina played North Carolina and got their butts whooped too. In fact, I mean, it was really a lopsided game by score, but I mean, I'll give Spencer Rattler some credit. You know, he threw for 350 yards, but he was sacked 9 times. His offensive line is garbage. It's trash. I mean, that guy's probably going to be running. He might quit in the middle of the season because he's afraid he's going to get hurt and lose some money heading to the NFL. He's going to get sacked so many times this year. It's going to be embarrassing. So, and by the way, that North Carolina team was one of the worst defensive teams in the country last year. And then they took it to South Carolina. So either they have improved a lot or South Carolina dropped way off. So anyways, moving on. Like I said, LSU has dropped 11 spots for me to number 14. They didn't look good. I'm being serious. Now, Florida State's a good football team, really good football team. However, LSU offensively looked like it was Jaden Daniels, and that was it. He was only looking for one wide receiver. That was it. They couldn't get the running game going. I think the wide receiver was mostly looking for was a running back, though, that was running out there in the middle of the field. But, yeah, they're offensively, they don't look very good at all. They did look decent defensively at first, okay? But Florida State figured out how to break them down, and, you know, that's what good coaching does, though. They come out second half, lit them up. And LSU just couldn't do nothing about it. So they're going to play some tough games this year. LSU could easily lose 4 or 5 games. Easily. Number 13, moving up 3 spots. I got to watch this team in person. I'm not here saying, oh, they look like they're back from the old Oklahoma. No, I'm not saying that. Okay, they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and that was beat the team that is not very good and beat them bad. They did exactly that. So to me, we didn't really learn anything about Oklahoma. Okay, this week. However, with other teams not doing that, okay, other teams not doing what they were supposed to do, and looking like, you know, they just now touching the football for the first time. It's the first year game, but you look like you ain't practiced. Then that's why Oklahoma moved up 3 spots. So, and I'll tell you this: they offensively they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Defensively, they did look a lot more aggressive than they have in the past. They looked like they was literally hitting people. You know, when Lincoln Riley was here and Alex Grinch was here, it looked like he was afraid to tackle people sometimes. That wasn't the case on Saturday. In fact, the first quarter took an hour to play. And the reason it took an hour to play is because every other play, Arkansas State player was hurt. And I'm not talking about conditioning. You know, that happens all the time with cramping, but it don't happen in the first quarter. It happens late in the games. Okay. They were getting hurt because they were getting hit. They were getting rocked. First time I can say that about an OU team in a long time, that they're rocking people. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. What we will be tested this weekend, though. I know it's SMU, but SMU likes to throw the ball around. So our defense, we will find out about our defense. Do I think we'll win the game? Yeah, I think we'll win the game, you know, at least by 21. However, will our defense be able to hold them to 17 points or less? If we can hold SMU to 17 points or less, I'll be very pleased with our offense. I agree, Roger. Yeah, Roger says was very vanilla on both sides of the ball. That is true, and that's what I'm saying. We couldn't learn anything, right? But we was actually hitting people, which I liked, right? And I did see a couple of busted coverages from where I was sitting at. However, the quarterback didn't look that way, so it didn't hurt us. Yeah, against SMU, it'll hurt us. So again, if we hold SMU to 17 points or less, then I think okay, our defense maybe, you know, I'm not going to say a Georgia defense or an Alabama defense. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a lot better than what we would than people give us credit for. We'll put it that way. All right. So that's at number 13. Number 12, with an impressive victory this weekend over South Carolina. They looked. I knew they was going to be good offensively. Drake Mays, if not the best, second best quarterback in the country. So offensively, I knew they was going to be good. Defensively is what I was impressed with because again, they was one of the worst defenses in the country last year. But they didn't look at. They did not look at. Yeah, they gave up 350 yards passing, but when you got Spencer Rattler over there throwing the ball, you're going to give up some yards. But for the most part, they did a great job, especially on key situations. So North Carolina moved up 3 spots to number 12. At number 11, I'm still not sold on this team. I know everybody else got them. I've seen them as high as ranked as number 1, all the way to number 7. Right? Not even close for me, and that's because they don't freaking play defense. They're gonna struggle beating Colorado in 2 weeks because they can't stop nobody, and that's the USC Trojans. If you can't play defense, yeah, I know Oklahoma made the Rose Bowl a few years ago the same way, just outscoring people. I get that, and that's what Lincoln Riley likes to do, but that's not going to get you in this day and age. No, and especially in the Pac-12 as heavy offensively as they are this year. No, USC will not make it to the Pac-12 championship if their defense don't get better. Plain and simple. Not going to happen. Number 10, another Pac-12 team is Oregon. I didn't get to watch them play at all, but they won impressively. Yeah, it was Portland State. But again, like Oklahoma, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And they won 81-7 or something like that, right? So great job, Oregon. Hopefully, I think this week you're playing somebody that's, I'm not saying it's going to be a challenge for you, but should give us more, like OU, should give us more of a sign of how good you really are. So Oregon moved up 3 spots to number 10. At number 9, another Pac-12 team. The Pac-12, I'm telling you, is underrated right now. By the way, the Pac-12 was the only conference this weekend to go undefeated. That's right, the only conference. And you can say, well, they didn't play anybody. Well, Colorado did. Colorado played a team that was ranked in the top 25, not in my top 25, but they was ranked in the top 25 by the national media. TCU was ranked in the top 25. They're not no longer. Now Colorado is, right? But, yeah, they still had at least teams that played. And by the way, Oregon State played the same team that USC played the week before and beat them a lot worse than USC did. That game, and that was San Jose State. San Jose State actually gave USC a little. I'm not gonna say it was close. It was within 2 scores late in the game, and that's because USC couldn't stop them. Every time they go down and score, San Jose State would come right back and score. Again, no defense. Oregon State plays defense. So at number 8, we got the Tennessee Volunteers. I didn't get to watch them, but they did play a Power 5 team. Okay. Now, granted, not a very good Power 5 team. They did play one in Virginia. I didn't get to see the score, but they did have an impressive win, or large margin of victory. So we're going to give them. They moved up 3 spots to number 8. At number 7, another SEC team. We got the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, Alabama did exactly what they were supposed to do. I didn't. Again, I was at the OU game, so I didn't get to watch a lot of these teams play until later on that night. But Alabama did exactly what they were supposed to do. Okay, so you can't knock them for that. I still think though they're trying to figure out their quarterback situation, but I'll say this. Last week I said I thought Texas would go in there and beat Alabama. No, ain't happening. Not happening. Alabama is good enough to beat Texas, even with they don't know who their quarterback is going to be, because Texas looked like trash. All right, 8-5, best record Texas is going to get this year. At number 6, another SEC team. And again, this team didn't come ready to play football last week. It was 7-0 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Not first quarter, first half. By that time, and by the way, the level of caliber team they played was the same level caliber team that teams like Oregon and OU played. Okay? And they were putting thumpings on their opponent. Whereas this team, I think they were still sipping on the champagne from the national championship, back-to-back national championship, we'll say, because a new quarterback, and by the way, I did flip it over and watch him. That quarterback did not look like he's ready to win national championships. I know he's young. He might be a freshman or a sophomore. I know that. But, I mean, he was making bad passes. And luckily, they weren't interceptions. He was just overthrowing people. So, number 6, I got the Georgia Bulldogs. And they're going to have to I know they got a weak schedule, so they could easily make it to the, down to Tennessee undefeated. Even not even playing very good. But they're going to figure some things out. Otherwise, some teams like Missouri, like Florida, could beat them. Just that simple. All right. At number 5, I thought I already named this team, but I guess I didn't. Okay. At number 5, moving up 3 spots. By the way, Georgia stayed the same. They didn't move up, they moved down. At number 5, moving up 3 spots and into the top 5, the Washington Huskies. All right. The Washington Huskies are legit. They play defense. Penix is the real deal. They are they play Boise State, and I mean Boise State's not great, but they're a good football team, a lot better football team than teams like Georgia, Oklahoma, and Oregon played this weekend, and they put a thumping on them. So I think they won like 59-16 or 56-19, something like that. So great job, Washington, and they moved to the top 5. At number 4, this team is not getting enough credit national media, and Washington really isn't either. But this team's already played 2 games and had impressive wins in both games. They've got a transfer quarterback from Wake Forest that is looking like, if they would have had him a couple years ago, they'd have been playing for national championships. But now they're looking like the real deal. They're loaded offensively and defensively. They've got a tough schedule, though, so it's going to be tough for them to make it to the college football playoff. But right now, they're my number 4. I'm talking about Notre Dame Fighting Irish. At number 3, another team with an impressive win. They went and played another Power 5 team. And the Power 5 team they played from the Big 12 last year did not look very good. This year, despite the loss and the lopsided loss, looked a lot better team than they were last year. And so the team that I got ranked number 3 is Penn State. The team they beat was West Virginia. And West Virginia, again, I wasn't expecting them to be very good this year. They're gonna pull some upsets this year in the Big 12. They're gonna save their coach's job, who is on the hot seat. I think it's last name Brown. I think that's his name. But at number 3, I got Penn State. By the way, Penn State was my team to win the Big 10. Check it out. Number 2, very impressive win this weekend. Beat an SEC team. And okay, somebody's confused. But anyway, number 2 is the Florida State Seminoles. All right. It was technically a neutral site game, but it was in Florida. We all know how that is. When we have neutral site game, I just like when they picked Georgia to play Clemson a couple years ago in this game, and they played it in Atlanta. That's not a neutral site game. That's a home game for Georgia, right? So yeah, LSU had a tough time. But let me also say this: last year, the same 2 teams played in New Orleans, and Florida State came away with that win too. That was last second. They won by like 1 or 2 points. Last second, I think it may have went to overtime. I think that's what happened. And then, it went to overtime. LSU scored first. Florida State scored, and then went for two and got it. So, yeah, number 2 is Florida State. Florida State's the real deal. ACC, if they're not alert, they better be, because I'm telling you, the new dog in town is the Florida State Seminoles, who win the ACC this year. Number 1. Now, this team wasn't overly impressive. Was it because their head coach was gone? I don't know. Again, they played a nobody, just like Ohio State. Well, Ohio State played a conference game at least, but this team played a nobody, and unlike Oregon and Oklahoma, but just like Georgia, they just weren't impressive enough. When you're playing teams that you're way better than, you should be scoring a half 100 on them easily. And if you want to take a picture out of Oklahoma's book, you score 45 in the first half. Let your second, third, and fourth stringers play the rest of the game. So, anyway, number 1 is the Michigan Wolverines. They stay the same ranking. By the way, Florida State will stay the same too. So, anyway, like I'm saying, this football season is going to be exciting. Probably the best overall from top to bottom that we've had in a long time. I even said this before the season started: there will not be an undefeated team make the college football playoff. All right? It won't happen. Not this year. All right? So, there'll be 1 losses, maybe a 2 loss, or maybe a 2. I had 1 2-loss team making it. My 2-loss team was going to be between Florida State and Utah, right? But I had Utah losing this week to Baylor. Not no more. No, Baylor starting quarterback got hurt. They look garbage. By the way, thanks a lot, Big 12. You made the Big 12 look. It wasn't just Baylor, Texas Tech, and somebody else lost. Houston struggled to win against a UTSA. Good job, Houston. Way to come in the Big 12 and struggle against nobody. We like that, right? So, anyways, but, Kansas State did good. Oh, TCU. TCU is the other team. That's right. 3 Big 12 teams lost this weekend. None of them should have lost. Period. But anyway, I'm not so much upset about the TCU game because I picked them to finish 8th in the conference, and then Colorado's better. I'll give them credit. Colorado's better than I thought they were. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, take time to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That way you get notified every time Old Man Nate drops a video or goes live. And if you haven't already, please take the time to hold on real quick. Let me get to go to oldmancoffee.shop. That way you can get some coffee. We have 47 different flavors of coffee. And you can also get yourself some t-shirts and some tumblers to drink your coffee in. All right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. This Thursday, we will be live at the 26th Lounge in Oklahoma City. So if you're in the area, stop by, get you something to eat, drink a beer, and chat with Old Man Nate. All right. It's good talking to everybody. Thanks for all the comments. We got one more comment down here. Well, I mean, that's true, but you've had non-Power 5 teams in the SEC too. Look at Vanderbilt, right? Vanderbilt, same caliber as Cincinnati and UCF. They struggled. You don't believe me? Look at Vanderbilt. They struggled to beat Hawaii at home. They did. So, anyways, we'll catch y'all in a couple of days. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.